My husband isolated me from my family for 10 years, and now I'm going to expose how he's doing the same thing to his new wife. I'm Natalie, 38 years old, living in a small apartment in Portland that I never thought I'd call home. But here I am, single, starting over, and about to do something that might make me look completely insane. I found her Instagram 3 months ago. Madison, 26, blonde, bubbly, posting pictures of her perfect life with my ex-husband Derek, the man who stole a decade of my life. At first, I just scrolled. I told myself I was just curious, just checking in, making sure he was really moved on like everyone said he had. But then I noticed something in one of her posts from 2 weeks ago. The caption read, "Missing my sister today, but so grateful for my amazing husband who always knows how to cheer me up." Missing her sister. Those 3 words made my stomach drop, because that's exactly how it started with me. I grabbed my phone and started typing a message to Madison. My hands were shaking. This was crazy, right? Reaching out to your ex-husband's new wife? But I couldn't stop myself. "Hi, Madison. I know this is going to sound absolutely wild, but I'm Derek's ex-wife. I really need to talk to you about something important. Can we meet for coffee?" I hit send before I could talk myself out of it. She read it immediately. I watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then, this is weird, but okay. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., there's a cafe called Riverside on Oak Street. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying everything in my head. How it started, how I didn't see it coming, how I lost everyone. Derek and I met when I was 22. He was 28. Charming, successful. He worked in tech and made good money. I was fresh out of college, working as a graphic designer, living with 2 roommates, and barely scraping by. He swept me into his world. Nice dinners, weekend trips. He made me feel special, like I was the only person who mattered. We got married 8 months after we met. Looking back, that should have been a red flag. But I was young, I was in love, and he was so convincing. The changes started small, so small I didn't notice them at first. "Your mom called again," he'd say with this little sigh. "Doesn't she know you're busy? You just talked to her 3 days ago. Your sister wants you to come to her birthday dinner on a Tuesday? That's kind of inconsiderate. You have work the next day. Girls' night again. You were just out with your friends 2 weeks ago. Don't you want to spend time with your husband?" Every comment was reasonable. Every concern was valid. He never yelled, never demanded. He just questioned, made me second guess, made me feel guilty for wanting to see the people I loved. And slowly, without realizing it, I started saying no to them instead of to him. My mom stopped calling as much. My sister stopped inviting me to things. My friends stopped texting about girls' nights. And Derek, he filled every space they left behind. I showed up at Riverside Cafe 15 minutes early. I ordered a coffee I didn't drink. I checked my phone every 30 seconds. Then I saw her walk in. Madison was even prettier in person. She wore a light blue sundress and had this nervous energy about her. She looked around the cafe until she spotted me. I'd told her I'd be wearing a green jacket. She walked over slowly, hesitantly. "Natalie," she asked. "Yeah, thanks for coming. I know this is bizarre." She sat down across from me. Up close, I could see the dark circles under her eyes that her makeup almost hid. Her smile was tight. "I have to admit, I almost didn't come," she said. "Derek doesn't know I'm here. He's at work." "Good," I said. "Because what I need to tell you, he wouldn't want you to hear it." She shifted in her seat. "Look, I don't know what kind of drama you're trying to start, but Derek and I are happy, really happy. He told me about you, about how the marriage didn't work out, how you guys just grew apart." I almost laughed. Grew apart. That's what he told her. "Madison, how long have you been married?" 10 months, she said. There was pride in her voice. "And when's the last time you saw your sister?" Her face changed. Just slightly. A flicker of something. "I don't see what that has to do with." "Please, just answer the question." She looked down at her hands. 6 months. But that's because she moved to Seattle. She's busy. We text all the time. Do you? Or does she text you and you just send short responses because Derek's always around and you don't want him to think you're being rude by being on your phone? Madison's eyes widened. "How did you— your mom? When's the last time you visited her?" She trailed off. "We had plans last month, but Derek surprised me with a weekend trip to wine country. It was really sweet. Mom understood. And the month before that, I had that work deadline. Derek helped me get through it. We ordered in, worked late together. Madison, look at me." She did. Her eyes were starting to water. "When's the last time you had lunch with a friend? Just you and a friend?" "No, Derek." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I have friends. We've been really busy planning the house renovations and Derek's been stressed with work and he needs you." I finished. "He needs your support, your time, your attention, because he works so hard for both of you, because he loves you so much, because when you're together, nothing else matters, right?" A tear rolled down her cheek. "How long were you married to him?" she whispered. 10 years. "Did you have friends? Family?" I shook my head. "Not by the end. By year 5, I'd stopped talking to my sister completely. My mom had given up trying to have a relationship with me. My friends were married with kids, and I'd missed so many birthdays, so many important moments, that they stopped including me. But why didn't you just leave? If it was that bad?" "Because it wasn't bad, Madison. That's the thing. Derek never hit me, never screamed at me, never told me I couldn't see people. He just made me not want to. He made me feel guilty for choosing them over him. He made me feel like I was being selfish, like a bad wife." She was crying openly now. "I thought I was going crazy," she said. "I thought something was wrong with me. My sister called me last week and asked why I was being so distant, said she felt like she barely knew me anymore, and I got so defensive. I told her she was being dramatic, that just because I got married didn't mean I had to report my every moved to her. But you weren't distant before Derek. No. We used to talk every single day, sometimes twice a day. About nothing. About everything. She was my best friend. I reached across the table and took her hand. Madison, I need to tell you something, and I need you to really hear me. It gets worse. So much worse. She pulled her hand back. What do you mean? Did he ask you to quit your job yet? Her face went pale. His promotion means we don't need my income anymore, and I've been so stressed. He thought it might be nice for me to focus on the house. On us. My heart sank. Don't do it. Madison, please. Do not quit your job. Why? Because I did. Year 3. He convinced me I was burned out, that I deserved a break, that he made enough for both of us. And it was true. I was exhausted. The job was demanding. And the idea of just stopping, it sounded like heaven. What happened? I stopped having work friends. Stopped having a reason to leave the house. Stopped having my own money. He paid for everything. He was generous. So generous. But every purchase became a discussion. Not a fight. Never a fight. Just a conversation about whether we really needed it. Whether it was the best use of our money. Madison was gripping her coffee cup so hard her knuckles were white. Year 5. My sister got engaged. She wanted me to be her maid of honor. I was so excited. But then Derek pointed out how expensive it would be. The dress. The bachelorette party. The bridal shower. All these events I'd need to travel for. And we were saving for a house. Was it really fair to spend thousands of dollars on someone else's wedding? Did you go? I went to the wedding. Just the wedding. I skipped everything else. I gave some excuse about being sick. About work. I don't even remember. But I saw the hurt in my sister's eyes. The disappointment. And I felt terrible. But I also felt like I was doing the right thing. Being responsible. Being a good wife. Natalie. At the wedding, my sister barely talked to me. My mom was cold. Everyone was polite but distant. And on the drive home, Derek held my hand and told me how proud he was of me. How I'd handled a difficult situation with grace. How not everyone has a family that understands the sacrifices we make for our marriages. I had to stop. The memories were flooding back and I could barely breathe. I didn't talk to my sister for 2 years after that. She stopped reaching out. I told myself she was busy with her new husband, with her life. I told myself I'd done nothing wrong. Madison wiped her eyes. Why are you telling me this? Because year 7, I woke up one day and realized I had no one, no job, no friends, no family, just Derek. And when I tried to talk to him about it, about how lonely I felt, he looked at me with these sad eyes and said, "But you have me. Isn't that enough? What did you say?" I said yes, because I'd convinced myself it was true, because I was terrified of admitting that I'd made a mistake, that I'd let this happen, that I'd pushed away everyone who loved me, for a man who said he loved me but kept me in a cage. How did you get out? This was the hard part. The part I'd spent 3 years in therapy trying to process. I didn't get out. He left me. Madison's jaw dropped. What? Year 10. He met someone at a work conference. Fell in love, apparently. Came home and told me he wanted a divorce. That we'd grown apart. That he'd always loved me, but he wasn't in love with me anymore. Oh my God. I was devastated. Completely destroyed. I'd given up everything for him, and he just left. But here's the thing, Madison. Here's the thing that took me 2 years of therapy to understand. What? It wasn't about me. It was never about me. It was about control. He needed someone he could mold. Someone he could isolate. Someone who depended on him completely. And when I started questioning things, when I started showing signs of wanting my own life back, he moved on. To me, Madison whispered. To you. And I'm guessing, to someone before me too. She looked confused. Before you. I did some digging after the divorce. Found his college girlfriend on Facebook. Reached out. Asked a few questions. Same pattern. Isolated her from friends. Got her to drop out of school. Then broke up with her when she started talking about wanting to finish her degree. This is insane. This is actually insane. I know it sounds extreme. I know you probably think I'm just a bitter ex-wife. But Madison, look at your life right now. Really look at it. Are you happy? Or are you just his? She stood up abruptly. I need to go. Madison, wait. No. This is too much. I can't. I need to think. She grabbed her purse and practically ran out of the cafe. I sat there alone, staring at my cold coffee, wondering if I'd just made everything worse. That night, I couldn't stop checking my phone. No messages from Madison. I kept replaying the conversation, wondering if I should have said something different, if I should have been less intense. Around 11, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? It's Madison. Her voice was thick like she'd been crying. Can I ask you something? Of course. Did Derek ever? She paused. Did he ever make you feel like you were too sensitive? Like you were overreacting to things? My chest tightened. All the time. What about your feelings? Did he ever tell you that you were being emotional when you tried to talk about something that upset you? Madison, what happened? I went home after we talked. I couldn't stop thinking about everything you said. So I called my sister. We talked for an hour. Really talked. For the first time in months. And Derek came home in the middle of the call. What did he do? Nothing. That's just it. He didn't do anything. He smiled, kissed my forehead, made himself dinner. But when I got off the phone, he asked if everything was okay with my sister. I said yes. And then he said, "You seem upset. Did she say something to upset you?" And I wasn't upset until he said that. But suddenly I was questioning the whole conversation, wondering if my sister had been passive-aggressive, if she'd been judging me. Derek just kept asking these little questions, gentle questions, concerned questions. And by the end of it, I felt terrible for even calling her. That's what he does. But then I caught myself. I stopped and thought, why do I feel bad for calling my sister? Why do I feel like I did something wrong? And I realized, he's been doing this for months. Every time time I mention wanting to see someone or do something without him, I end up feeling guilty. I end up apologizing. I end up choosing him. What did you do? I told him I wanted to visit my sister next weekend. Just me. Just for 2 days. What did he say? He said of course. He said he thought it was a great idea. He said he'd been worried I wasn't making enough time for her. My blood went cold. I knew that move. I knew it well. Madison, don't fall for it. What do you mean? He's going to let you plan the trip. He's going to be supportive. Enthusiastic even. And then, 2 days before you're supposed to leave, something's going to come up. Like what? I don't know. A work crisis. A family emergency on his side. His car will break down. He'll get food poisoning. Something that makes it impossible for you to leave without looking like a terrible person. She was quiet for a long time. He did that before, she said finally. 3 months ago, I was supposed to meet my college friends for a reunion weekend. He was so supportive when I planned it. But the day before I was supposed to leave, his mom called, said she was having chest pains. We spent the whole weekend at the hospital. Turned out to be acid reflux. And you felt terrible for even being disappointed. How do you know all this? Because he did the same thing to me, over and over and over, for 10 years. Natalie, I'm scared, I know. But Madison, you're not in as deep as I was. You still have your job. Your sister still wants to see you. You can get out. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm overreacting and he really does just love me and want to be with me? Then why are you calling me at 11 at night crying, asking these questions? She didn't answer. Madison, I'm going to give you my number. My real number, not just Instagram. I want you to call me anytime, day or night, if you need to talk, if you need help, if you just need someone to remind you that you're not crazy. Why are you doing this? Why do you care? Because I didn't have anyone. Because I was completely alone when I finally saw the truth. And I don't want that for you. I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. She was crying again. Thank you. One more thing. Yeah? Start documenting everything. Not for legal reasons. Not to build a case. Just for you. When he says something that makes you feel guilty or confused or bad about yourself, write it down. Date it. Time it. Because part of his power is making you forget. Making you think you're misremembering. That it wasn't that bad. That you're being dramatic. Okay, she whispered. Okay, I will. We said goodbye and I sat in my dark apartment, feeling like I'd just stepped into something much bigger than a simple warning to a stranger. The next 2 weeks were quiet. Madison didn't call. She didn't text. I started to wonder if she'd decided I was crazy after all. If she'd blocked my number and gone back to her perfect life with Derek. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, she showed up at my apartment. I opened the door and she was standing there with a backpack and red eyes. He's tracking my phone, she said. I pulled her inside. What happened? I started paying attention. Really paying attention. And I noticed things. Like how he always knows where I am. I thought he was just checking in. Being sweet. Asking about my day. But then yesterday, I told him I was going to the grocery store. But I went to Target instead. Just because. I didn't need anything from Target. I just wanted to go somewhere without telling him first. Did he say something? He texted me an hour later asking if I found what I needed at Target. Not the grocery store. Target. He knew. And when I asked him how he knew, he laughed it off. Said he saw my car in the parking lot when he drove by. But Natalie, he works 30 minutes in the opposite direction. There's no reason he would have driven by that Target. I felt sick, so I checked. I looked through my phone settings, find my friends. He has access, but I never remember setting that up. I never remember giving him permission. When did you get your phone? He bought it for me, as a wedding gift. Said my old one was too slow. He set it up before he gave it to you. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. What else is he monitoring? What else have I not noticed? I don't know, but we're going to figure it out. I made her tea while she sat on my couch, looking shell-shocked. When I came back, she was staring at her phone like it was a bomb. I want to leave, she said. I want to leave him, but I don't know how. Do you have access to money? We have a joint account, but my paycheck goes in there, and he manages it. He says he's better with finances, and he is. He's really good with money, but I don't actually know how much we have. I don't check. Do you have credit cards? One. In my name, but the statement goes to his email. He pays it every month. This was worse than I thought. Okay, here's what we're going to do. First, you're going to go home. I know that's scary, but we need to be strategic. If you disappear right now, he's going to know something's wrong. But the tracking, turn off your location temporarily. Tell him your phone's been acting weird, that it keeps dying, that you're taking it to get looked at tomorrow. He'll offer to take it for me. Then let him. But before you give it to him, back up everything. Your photos, your contacts, everything. Do you have a laptop? Yeah, he bought it for me, but I have the password. Change the password tonight to something he wouldn't guess and start moving important documents. Anything with your name on it. Birth certificate, social security card, passport. Do you know where those are? In his filing cabinet in the office. Our office. It's your office too. Those are your documents. You have every right to access them. She nodded, but she looked terrified. Madison, I know this is overwhelming, but you can do this. You are stronger than you think. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm ruining a good marriage because some bitter ex-wife convinced me? Stop. Look at me. She did. Are you happy? I don't know. When's the last time you felt truly happy? Not grateful. Not content. Not comfortable. Happy. She thought about it for a long time. I can't remember, she whispered. That's your answer. She left an hour later with a plan. Turn off location. Claim phone issues. Back everything up. Secure her documents. And most importantly, act normal. I didn't sleep that night. I kept imagining all the ways this could go wrong. Derek finding out. Derek confronting her. Derek doing something worse. The next day, I got a text from an unknown number. New phone. He took mine to get fixed. Had to buy a burner. This is insane. I saved the number immediately. Are you okay? Yeah. Got my documents, changed my laptop password. He noticed I seemed quiet at dinner, asked if something was wrong. I told him I was just tired. He made me tea and ran me a bath. He was so sweet, so attentive. Natalie, what if I'm making this all up in my head? You're not. How do you know? Because I had that exact same thought 1,000 times. He's so sweet. He's so caring. He does so much for me. How could I possibly leave? How could I be so ungrateful? But he does do a lot for me. Madison, does he do things for you or to you? She didn't respond for a while. Then I need to think about that. Over the next week, Madison started to see things she hadn't noticed before, or things she'd noticed but explained away. How Derek always needed to know where she was going and when she'd be back. How he'd sulk if she spent too long on the phone with someone else. How he'd bring up her flakiness whenever she made plans with anyone. How he'd buy her gifts she didn't ask for, then use them as evidence of how much he loved her when she felt ungrateful. How he'd volunteer them for activities with his friends and family but always have an excuse when hers wanted to see them. The list grew and grew, and with each item she became more certain. I need to leave, she told me on day 9, but I don't know where to go. I can't go to my sister's. That's the first place he'll look. You can stay here. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. Madison, I have a second bedroom. It's small, but it's yours if you need it. Why are you being so nice to me? I married your ex-husband. I'm living the life you used to have. No, you're living the nightmare I escaped, and nobody deserves that. She cried. I cried, and we made a plan. Saturday, Derek had a golf outing with work friends. He'd be gone from 8 in the morning until at least 5 in the evening. Madison would pack just the essentials, clothes, documents, a few personal items. She'd leave her wedding ring on the counter with a note. What should I say? She asked. Whatever you want, or nothing at all. You don't owe him an explanation. But shouldn't I tell him why? Shouldn't I give him a chance to change? Madison, he's had 10 months with you and 10 years before that with me. This is who he is. He's not going to change. Saturday morning, I woke up at 6. I couldn't eat, couldn't focus. I just kept checking my phone, waiting for her text. At 8:15, he just left. I'm packing now. At 9:30, almost done. I can't believe I'm doing this. At 10, I'm leaving now. See you in 30 minutes. But she didn't show up in 30 minutes. An hour passed. Then 2. I called her burner phone. No answer. I paced my apartment, trying not to panic. Then at 12:45, there was a knock on my door. I threw it open. Madison stood there, but she wasn't alone. Derek was with her. My whole body went cold. Natalie, Derek said with that smile I used to love. Long time no see. I looked at Madison. Her eyes were pleading with me, apologizing. Can we come in? Derek asked. I think we need to have a conversation. The 3 of us. Every instinct told me to slam the door, to call the police, to do anything except let him into my space. But Madison looked terrified, and I couldn't leave her alone with him. I stepped aside. They walked in. Derek looked around my small apartment with barely concealed disdain. Cozy, he said. What are you doing here, Derek? Well, that's an interesting question. See, I came home early from golf, wasn't feeling well, and I found my wife packing her bags. He said the last part while looking directly at Madison. Imagine my surprise. Madison sat down on my couch, her hands shaking. And then, Derek continued, when I asked her what was going on, she told me she'd been talking to you, my ex-wife, taking advice from you, making decisions based on things you told her about our marriage. Your marriage that's following the exact same pattern as ours did. Derek laughed. Actually laughed. Is that what you think? That I have some kind of pattern? Natalie, we got divorced because we grew apart. That's it. That's the whole story. And now you're trying to sabotage my new marriage because you're bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm trying to help her avoid the same mistakes I made. Mistakes? Is that what you call our 10 years together? Mistakes? I call it 10 years of being systematically isolated from everyone I loved while you controlled every aspect of my life. I never controlled you. You made your own choices. Choices you manipulated me into making. That's ridiculous. You're rewriting history to make yourself feel better about how things ended. I turned to Madison. Is that what you think? That I'm making this up? She looked between us, tears running down her face. I don't know what to think anymore. He came home and he was so hurt, so confused, and he made really good points about how we've been stressed, and how I've been overwhelmed, and how it's normal for marriages to go through rough patches. My heart sank. Madison, please, remember what you told me. Remember how you felt. I know, but maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I was letting you put ideas in my head. Derek moved to sit next to her. He took her hand. Honey, I love you. You know that, right? Everything I do is because I love you and want what's best for us. She nodded, crying harder. And I understand why Natalie reached out to you. She's lonely. She's struggling. And she sees us happy. And she wants to tear that down. That's not. I started. Let me finish, Derek said, his voice hardening just slightly. Natalie, I tried to be kind to you during the divorce. I gave you more than I had to. I helped you get on your feet. And this is how you repay me. By trying to destroy my marriage, you didn't help me. The court ordered you to pay me because I gave up my career for you. You chose to quit your job. Nobody forced you. You convinced me to quit. I suggested it might be good for you. You made the final decision. And there it was. The gaslighting, the reframing, making everything my choice, my decision, my fault. I looked at Madison, really looked at her. Do you want to stay with him? She looked at Derek, then at me, then down at her hands. I don't know. That's okay, Derek said gently. You don't have to decide right now. Why don't we go home? Talk about this. Maybe see a marriage counselor. Work through this together. Madison, I said quietly. Before you go, can I ask you one question? She nodded. If Derek wasn't in this room right now, what would you say? Derek stood up. Okay, this isn't a Inappropriate. We're leaving. Madison, I pressed. Just answer the question. What would you say if he wasn't here? She opened her mouth, closed it. Derek pulled her to her feet. Come on, honey. We don't need this negativity in our lives. I'd say I want to stay, Madison whispered. Everyone froze. What? Derek asked. I'd say I want to stay here, with Natalie. I'd say I need space. I'd say, she pulled her hand from his. I'd say I'm scared of you. Derek's face changed. The mask slipped for just a second. I saw anger, real anger. Then it was gone, replaced by hurt, confusion. Scared? Baby, why would you be scared of me? I've never hurt you. I would never hurt you. I know. That's what makes it so confusing. You've never hurt me, but I'm still afraid. I'm afraid of disappointing you. I'm afraid of making you angry. I'm afraid of losing you, but I'm also afraid of staying. That doesn't make any sense. It does to me, I said. It makes perfect sense, because that's exactly how I felt for years. Derek turned to me. This is your fault. You put these ideas in her head. You're manipulating her. No, I told her the truth. I told her my experience. She's making her own choices. Madison, please. Let's go home. Let's talk about this. Just us. Madison looked at me, then at him. Then she did something I never expected. She took off her wedding ring. I need time, she said. I need space to think without you there. Without you explaining things or making me feel guilty or convincing me I'm crazy. You're not crazy, but she's making you think you are. No, Derek, you're making me think I am. Every time I have a feeling you don't like, you tell me I'm being too sensitive, too emotional, overreacting, but I'm not. My feelings are real, and right now I feel like I need to leave. She picked up her bag, the one she'd packed that morning. Derek grabbed her arm, not hard, just enough to stop her. Please don't do this, he said. Please, I love you so much. I know you do, but I need to figure out if that's enough. She pulled away from him and walked toward the door. Derek looked at me with pure hatred. This isn't over, he said quietly. Yes, it is. Leave, now, or I'm calling the police. He left, but not before giving Madison one last pleading look. When the door closed, she collapsed onto my couch, sobbing. I sat next to her and held her while she cried. I can't believe I did that, she said. I can't believe I actually left. You're so brave. I don't feel brave. I feel terrified. That's normal. That's good even. It means you're feeling real feelings instead of the ones he wanted you to feel. She stayed with me. Days turned into weeks. She called her sister, then her mom. They were confused at first, hurt, but when she explained, really explained, they understood. Her sister came to visit. I gave them space. When she left, Madison's eyes were brighter than I'd ever seen them. She forgave me, Madison said. She said she'd been so worried, that she'd tried so hard to reach me but I kept pushing her away. You're not pushing anymore. No, I'm not. Derek tried everything. Flowers, letters, text from his family. His mom even called Madison, crying, begging her to give him another chance. But Madison held firm. She filed for divorce 6 weeks after leaving. Derek fought it. Of course he did. He wanted counseling, mediation, more time. But Madison had a good lawyer, and more importantly, she had evidence. All those notes she'd taken, all those dates and times, all those moments of manipulation documented in black and white. It wasn't enough for a legal case, but it was enough for her. Enough to remind her why she left when Derek tried to convince her to come back. The divorce took 4 months. Derek had to pay her out. Not as much as she deserved, but enough to get started. She moved into her own apartment, got a promotion at work, started seeing a therapist, and slowly she came back to life. I watched her transform from the scared woman who showed up at my door to someone strong, someone whole. We became friends, real friends. Not just two women connected by the same terrible man, but actual friends who grabbed coffee and watched movies and complained about work. 6 months after her divorce was finalized, Madison came to my apartment looking nervous. I need to tell you something, she said. Okay, I've been doing some research. About Derek. About his patterns. Madison, you're free. You don't need to. No, listen. I found someone else. Another ex-girlfriend. From before you. I know. I found her too, but there's another one. From college. Before the girlfriend you found. My stomach dropped. What? Her name is Jennifer. She was his first serious relationship. And Natalie, the pattern goes back even further than we thought. She showed me her laptop. Facebook messages. A whole conversation with a woman named Jennifer. Same story. Same isolation. Same manipulation. How many? I whispered. That I found. 4. You, me, the girlfriend between us. Jennifer. But I think there might be more. Why are you telling me this? Because he's dating someone new. The room spun. How do you know? I saw it on his Instagram. Her name is Amber. She's 24. Works in marketing. And I saw a photo she posted 3 days ago with a caption about how grateful she is for her boyfriend, who always supports her dreams. We have to warn her. I already did. You what? I messaged her. Just like you messaged me. And you know what she said? What? She said thank you, but she's happy. That Derek told her about his crazy ex-wives who can't let go. That she feels bad for us, but she's not going to let our bitterness ruin her relationship. I felt like I'd been punched. He warned her. He learned from us. He's getting smarter. Madison nodded. So I made a website. A what? She pulled up a simple, clean web page. The title read, The Truth About Derek Morrison. It had all of our stories. Anonymous. No names except Derek's. Testimonials from me. From Madison. From Jennifer. From the other girlfriend who'd agreed to share. Patterns documented. Timelines laid out. Red flags highlighted. I'm not trying to ruin his life, Madison said, but I'm not going to let him keep doing this to women. If someone Googles his name, they'll find this. If someone has doubts, they'll have evidence. If someone needs to know they're not crazy, they'll have proof. He's going to be furious. I know, but I also know I'm not alone anymore. We're not alone. There are 4 of us now, and we all see the the truth. What if Amber doesn't believe it? Then she doesn't. We can't force her to see what she's not ready to see, but at least we tried. 3 weeks later, I got a message on Instagram. Hi, my name is Amber. I saw the website. My heart raced. Are you okay? I don't know. Derek told me his ex-wives made it, that they're obsessed with him, that they're trying to sabotage his happiness. And what do you think? I think there are 4 different women with the exact same story, and that seems like a strange coincidence. It's not a coincidence. I know. I'm scared to admit it. I understand. We've all been there. Can I ask you something? Anything. How did you know? Like really know? How did you know it was time to leave? I thought about it. Really thought about it. When I realized I was more afraid of staying than I was of leaving. When I realized that the scariest thing wasn't being alone. It was being with someone who made me feel alone. She didn't respond for a long time. Then, he got mad at me today because I liked a male coworker's post on LinkedIn. Said it looked unprofessional, that people might get the wrong idea. I deleted the like. But then I sat in my car and cried because I couldn't understand why I felt so terrible about something so small. That's how it starts. I want out. Then we'll help you. Amber left Derek 2 weeks later. Madison picked her up, brought her to safety, helped her file for divorce. And Derek finally started to see consequences. His new girlfriend after Amber found the website immediately, broke up with him on the second date. His reputation at work started to suffer. People talked. Word spread. He tried to get the website taken down, sent legal threats, but everything on it was true, documented, protected. The last I heard, he'd moved to a different city, started over somewhere new. Maybe he's changed, maybe he's learned, but probably not. Probably he's just found new victims who haven't Googled his name yet. But Madison and I, we're okay. Better than okay. We've built something good out of something terrible. A support system, a network, a group of women who refuse to be isolated anymore. And when we get messages from women who are scared, confused, questioning their reality, we answer every single time. Because nobody should have to go through what we went through alone. Nobody should spend 10 years losing themselves to someone who claims to love them. And nobody should ever feel crazy for trusting their instincts. Last week, Madison and I were having coffee, just like that first day in the cafe. But this time, we were both free. Do you regret it? She asked, reaching out to me, starting all of this. I thought about it, about the fear, the confrontation, the pain of reliving everything. Not for a second, I said. Me neither. We clinked our coffee cups together. To being free, Madison said. To being free, I echoed. And for the first time in 10 years, I really was.